So, our topic for today is about enhancing and decorating finished products. So, first, let's define the definitions of number one is enhancing. So, when we say enhancing, it is to increase or to improve something. So, for example of that is yung enhancing of human physical appearance. So, for example, or yung tinatawag nila magpaparetoke. So, may mga taong gusto nilang magbago yung kanilang physical appearance. Like, yung ilong nila is mas pinapatangos nila, and then, yung cheeks nila is gusto nilang mas malaki yung cheeks nila. So, yan yung tinatawag na enhancing. But, however, nandun pa rin yung kanilang kagustuhan na mag-improve yung kanilang physical appearance. So, that is enhancing. So, next is the decorating. So, pakibasa.
Putting or adding to something. Putting or adding to something else to make it more attractive or appealing.
So, decorating from the word decoration. Ito yung mga dinadagdagan nila ng decoration yung isang bagay para mas maging attractive ito sa mata ng mga tao. So, for example, ulit, yung isang babae, di ba, naglalagay sila ng mga lipstick, makeup, eyelashes, eyeliner, para mas maging attractive sila yung kanilang physical appearance sa iba. So, that is decorating. So, why is it importance of enhancing or decorating finished products before we are going to sell it into the market? So, number one is, pakibasa.
More sellable.
So, more saleable. Meaning, mas nagiging mabenta yung isang bagay pag nag-undergo siya ng enhancing or decorating. So, paano siya nagiging mabenta? Dahil sa pagiging unique. Unique sa kulay, unique sa design, at saka unique sa lahat. So, kaya naging mabenta. So, next is, pakibasa ulit.
Beauty face, beauty.
Second,
Help maintain durability.
So, paano nakakatulong yung enhancing or decorating para ma-maintain yung durability ng isang finished product?
Para makita ka sa video yan.
So, for example na lang, yung mga nagtitinda sa mga furniture shop. So, ang ginagawa nila para ma-maintain yung durability ng isang wood or bamboo products is that after na nilang ma-finish, is nilalagyan nila ito ng varnish. Na kung saan nakakatulong dito para hindi siya magkaroon ng yung tinatawag nilang na hindi siya masisira at ma-maintain nga yung quality ng isang produkto. That is to help maintain durability. So next,
Beautifies product itself.
Beautifies product itself. So kapag na-enhance or nalagyan ng decorate yung isang bagay is mas lalo itong gumaganda sa natural niyang itsura. So next, let's move on to the methods of enhancing, decorating bamboo and wood products. So now, pupunta naman tayo yung mga paraan or techniques na ginagamit in enhancing, decorating bamboo and wood products. So number one is
wood turning is a process of using a leather to make various forms and shapes of wood.
So wood turning, ito is isang process na kung saan ginagamitan ng lead to make various forms para yung isang wood is magkaroon siya ng shape, mag-form ng shape. So, example of lada is ito yung nasa picture. So, ang lada is a machine in which a piece of wood or metal is held and turned while being shaped by a sharp tool. So, ano nga ba yung mga tools na ginagamit sa pag-form ng shape? So, ito yung types of chisel used in wood turning. So, kung mapapansin mo in the pictures, is parang mas lumalaki na yung size nung mga chisel. So, from A, 1/2, then yung B, 3/4, and then yung C, 1, and then yung D is 5/8, and then yung E is 3/16, and then yung F is 5/8 ulit. Pero iba na yung design, iba yung shape ng chisel. So, yung letter G is 5/8, which is scope chisel din. Iba din yung shape ng mismong pinakadulo niya. And next, last one is the size 1, which is scope chisel. So, this is an example of products using wood turning. So, ito is flower base. Ito, kung mapapansin mo, ito is nakalagay ito sa mga hagdan na kung saan made of bamboo. And then, ito is
Tugawan.
yeah, tama. Upuan. So, para mas maintindihan, papanood ko sa'yo yung video. Kung paano gumawa ng basic wood products.
Kumakain.
Ano kakaiba niyo yung video ato? So, kailangan daw is gumamit lang muna ng simple wood if you are a beginner. So, ayun, may ginagamit siyang chisel para pang shape sa wood. Ano mo nagiging ano siya? Nagiging yung camera.
Just 240 sandpaper.
So, and then, ginamitan na niya ng sandpaper
Keep the pressure on because I'll come off the
o
spine.
yung liha para mas maging soften yung kanyang texture.
Well, we'll stop the line now. Just to quick show you how accurate these are. There we go.
So, yun naging perfect, ano na siya, circle. Then, kung mapapansin mo is malambot na rin yung kanyang texture. that's all. So, naintindihan mo ba yung video?
Opo.
So, now let's move on to the second method, which is the hand curving. So, kindly read.
Is considered as w- wide yeah, woodcraft in which a sharp object is should use to create design on the wall.
So, from the word itself, hand, na kung saan ginagamit yung kamay para mag-ukit. So, kung mapapansin mo dito sa sa pictures is gumagamit siya ng isang bagay na matulis para pang-ukit sa wood. So, these are the tools used in hand carving. So, number 1 is the chip carving knife. So, chip carving knife is used for whittling and chip carving. So, ito na yung ginagamit para ipang-carve sa isang wood product. So, next is the carpenter's chisel. So, carpenter's chisel, this chisel have a flat edge, sweep, and not usually for sculpture. So, ang pinagkaiba ng knife and chisel is that yung carpenter's chisel, yung dulo niya is flat siya. Samantalang yung knife is hindi naman siya totally flat. So, next is the U-gauges. So, it is designated by the width of the cutting edge. And next is the bent and spoon gauges. So, it is used to get into inaccessible spots on a carving that a straight gauge can reach. So, kung mapapansin mo dito is parang may pakurba yung kanyang metal. So, ginagamit ito para sa mga wood na kailanganin niyang gumamit para magkakurba. So, next is the screw chisel. So, kung yung kanina is carpenter's chisel, ito naman is screw chisel. So, the cutting edge is angled back from the leading edge at a 45-degree angle. So, yung yung pinaka-tip ng screw chisel is medyo 45-degree angle siya. Unlike dun sa may carpenter's chisel is flat lamang siya. So, next is the palm tools. So, it is needed for creating small carvings in basswood or other softwood. So, ito yung mga parang flat screw, yan yung mga ganon. Next is the mallet. Mallet, it is a cylindrically shaped and made from a heavy dense hard. So, siya, kumbaga, ito yung maliit na martilyo, pero mabigat siya. So, para mas maintindihan mo yung paggawa ng mga bamboo products gamit ang hand carving. So, meron ulit akong ipapanood ko.
Natasisbo ako.
Wood carving is easy. Here at Beavercraft, you are fast. Make wood carving easy for everyone.
So, this is for the beginner.
For even professionals and woodmasters. Here in the channel, expect to see various wood carving tutorials. Learn to carve a rabbit, a gnome, wood spirit, a cookstone, different designs of spoons, gnome, a god, a snowman, and many other woodland projects. From time to time, we're having giveaways. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when we publish new videos. Enjoy free tutorials and giveaways from Beavercraft Radio. Wood carving is relaxing. Whittle away today.
So, that is how to make a simple hand carving. So, next method is the pyrography. So, pyrography, it is considered an art using a fire or heat to decorate wood or leather. So, kung mapapansin mo yung ganito, may nakita ka na bang ganyan? Ganyan mismo ang itsura. Yung parang akala mo is meron siyang mga sira, yung mga itim na ganun. So, that is a pyrography. Ginagamitan siya ng fire or heat para maging decoration siya sa isang wood or leather. So, yung tools na ginagamit sa paggawa ng pyrography is the burners and pyrography pens. So, examples of pyrography is yung mga ganito. Yung mga nabibili natin sa sa mga bagyo, yung sinasabit sa bag. And then, pwede din yung ladle. So, that is pyrography. So, I'll show you again a short video, para maintindihan mo kung paano yung paggawa ng simple pyrography.
This is my old wood burner. It is basically a soldering iron on which you can change the tips.
Ginagamitan siya ng soldering iron.
So I decided to invest in a better quality. I got this pyrography station, which has variable heat and it reaches high temperatures really fast. This thing uses this type of tips. Now let's give it a try with this piece of light. I set the burner at an average heat and started creating the outlines of my
So, gagawa muna siya ng outlines niya sa wood.
Basically, I kind of improvised here. Then I increased the heat and started creating
And ganyan, ginagamitan mo niya ng pyrography pens.
my darkest tones. Then I started filling the sky with circular motions. I also decreased the heat again at average. And that's what I got so far. Next, I increased the heat again and started creating a gradient effect on the sky. I also started shading, but I reduced the heat so I had better control and less mistakes. I had an imaginary light source on my mind. I added shadows in some areas and left lights next to them. This way I tried to create the forms I had in my mind. As you can see, the more you insist on an area, the darker it gets. Here I save these edgy geometrical forms.
Matulog mo, may ibang mukha ka.
This is a constant dialogue between light and shadow. Increasing the heat again to make the sky even darker.
I-increase na ulit yung heat para mas maging darken yung color ng wood.
Shading this area a little bit more. You can work on these
Nakita mo yung
pieces
nangyari.
but I'm gonna stop here.
Ano yun? Nakuha mo to na full
It was a
storage mo
really
to.
fun project for me. But that was it. See you soon in the new project video.
So that is an example of pyrography. So next, let's move on to the lacking technique. So kindly read.
Is a decoration process that enhance the interior of drawer and boxer with a soft velvety finish.
So ito yung technique na kung saan nilalagyan muna nila yung side by side ng isang box, ng isang bagay na malambot para hindi siya magkaroon gas-gas. And then, after nun, is lalagyan nila naman sa loob ng parang, yung foam o di kaya towel na malambot. So, that is the flapping technique. So, next technique is the inlaying. So, kindly read.
Combines several techniques that involve inserting decorative trays into a base object that incorporate new design on the original product.
So, inlaying, from the word itself, inlay, na kung saan yung isang product, pag natapos na siyang ma-finish, is that parang nilalagyan pa nila ng another design sa top para magkaroon ng ibang output. So, I'll give you an example of inlaying. So, this is an example of inlaying technique. So, kung mapapansin mo dito is natapos na siya, and then parang meron pa siyang mga ukit-ukit na konti dito sa may outer surface niya, and then naging design na rin siya. So, paano nga ba gumawa ng inlaying? Or how to inlay wood or simple inlaying? So, number 1, first is kailangan mo munang gumawa ng design mo. And then next is make several copies of your design. So, para pag nagkamali ka sa isa, is meron ka pang backup na design. So, next is trace the design onto the wood. So, next is pwede mo nang i-trace yung ginawa mong design sa wood na paggagamitan mo. And next, cut out each paper. So, yung design na naisip mo is guguntingin mo siya sa shape ng design, and then create a fiberboard template. Pero pwede naman siyang hindi. Optional lang yung paggawa ng fiberboard. So, next is cut the first segment from the inlay materials. So, kung makikita mo dito sa pictures is first na kinat niya yung nasa pinakataas. And then next is sand or file the edges of smooth. So, para maging smooth yung edges nung wood is ginamitan siya ng sand or yung liha. And then next is temporarily attach the piece or template to the base. So, pwede mo na siyang i-attach pangsamantala sa base. Then next is cut lightly around the piece, then remove the inlay. So, pagkatapos mo na siyang ilagay dun sa may wood, is pwede mo nang i-remove yung parang ginamit mo na siguro papel na pinaglagyan ng design. Then next is trace the groove to make it more distinct. So, pag nailagay na daw is pwede mo siyang i-trace sa mga gilid niya para matanggal yung mga exist na things na nakalagay doon. And then next is set up your cutting tool. Then cut away most of the recesses with a 1/8 drill bit. So, gagamitan mo siya ng drill bit. Then, after that is glue the piece. Pwede mo na siyang i-glue. And lastly is level the surface. So, pwede mo siyang gamitan ng sandpaper para maging soften yung kanyang surface. So, that is how to inlay wood. So, naiintindihan mo ba? Makaturto. Huwag pa tayo suru-suru. So, next is gilding. So, it is considered as a decorative technique in which powder is applied on wood or other materials to give a thin coating of gold. So, ito naman is, nilalagyan siya ng, kino-coat siya ng gold. So, para mas maintindihan mo, just watch this video. So, yun na yung ginagamit niya na pang-coat sa isang wood or metal product. Nakita mo na naigdop.
And sharp because this is the very secret of the
Pag-isa pa kay
cloth.
susbuak.
It's not sharp enough.
Hindi na mister.
That's the problem. And this is really the best beat. I mean, not the best. The worst trouble you can have while you are using a brain like this. We charge this in this way. We say it's recharge, or we say like this in Italian actually. I don't know if it has any meaning in English, but it's okay. Did you see how I took it out? This is the only way, by a knife and with the hair from my mouth. Just here, right in the middle of the leaf. Otherwise, you can have it lost, which is not good. This is a couple of dollars every leaf.
And then, dahil dyan sa mga nilalagay nilang, kinuhote nilang gold is parang mas nagiging luxurious or mas mahal tingnan yung isang products.
Now, take a look at this leaf. It's going away. If I look, it's wet. It went away, but I got it again with this knife. Now it's here. It's mine. I put it here in the middle of the pillow, and I start to find a way to put it as in the beginning. So, this is what I could say about this leaf. And
Ano daw siya pwedeng hanapin.
it's very hard. Sometimes you could even lose the leaf. Now you use the small pieces, put them
Kasi diba?
in part of the frame which are not already gilded.
So that is gilding. So next, let's move on to staining. So kindly read.
It is used use the color wood to give a illusion of texture.
So kung mapapansin mo dito sa pictures is, di ba hindi siya pare-parehas yung kulay na. So yan yung tinatawag na staining. So what are the steps or how to stain bamboo? So number 1 is linisan mo daw muna yung surface ng isang bamboo products. And then next, step 2 is use sandpaper para maging soften yung kanyang surface. And then, step 3 is, lagyan mo daw ng it's either Manila paper or papel dun sa may mismong baba ng bamboo para hindi magkaroon ng dumi or para hindi madisgrasya yung gagawa. So, next is, yun nga, gagamit ka na ng stain color or minsan varnish, pwede din. And then, next, step 5 is, so, let it dry. Hayaan mo lang siyang maging dry. And then, lastly is, lagyan mo ulit siya nung in-apply mo nung first para mas maging darken yung color niya. So, that is how to stain bamboo. So, next is painting. So, kindly read.
Is considered
Considered
the simplest way of decorating wood, since there is a variety of color that you can choose from.
So, painting, ito yung pinaka-simplest way of decorating wood. Since, may mga, may mga iba't ibang kulay na ginagamit. So, ito din yung pinaka-decorated talaga kasi pwede kang maglagay ng iba't ibang design na gusto mo. So, that is painting. So, pwede kang mag-painting sa wood, pwede din sa mga walls, and many more. So, next, so kung yung kanina is techniques in enhancing and decorating bamboo products or wood products, dito naman is metal craft. So, number 1 is the engraving. So, what is engraving? So, engraving is a method of transferring a design on a metal using a hardened steel tool called burin or graver to cut into the surface of the metal. So, from the word, it's engrave or di kayo yung pag-uukit. So, kung makikita mo dito, example, is yung parang couple ring ata to. Then, makikita mo naka-engrave or nakaukit dito sa loob ng ring yung kanilang name, pangalan nung mag-asawa. And then, yung date siguro to ng kanilang wedding. So, gumagamit sila ng steel tool na kung saan tinatawag itong burin na pang-engrave sa mga copper or wood. So, how to engrave at home using hand engraving tools? So, first is kumuha ka na muna ng isang metal or jewelry na blank siya, wala kang makikitang any naka-print doon or naka-ukit doon para doon mo ilalagay yung design na gusto mo. Next is parang mag-sketch ka muna doon sa may metal na yun para sa iyong initial design. And last is pwede ka nang mag-start mag-engrave sa kung kahit saan man dun sa may metal na napili mo. So, what are the different types of hand engraving tools? So, number 1 is the scraper. So, scraper is used to scrape away the metal surface to clean it. And next is the speed stick. So, kindly read.
Used to cut flawed lines.
Very good. So, next, what is scraper?
Use the cut and curve danger arrays with hand engraving metal.
Next, what is graver?
Use the cut lines that swell or shrink in the metal.
Sino hindi ba? So, next, para mas maintindihan mo is papanood ko sa'yo itong video natin.
Plus atat 28 an.
Hey everyone, Blake here from DM Sculptures. Today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to metal etch any kind of steel. This is extremely easy to do. Let's get right into it. You're going to need a set of alligator clips, 9-volt battery, Q-tips, regular table
So
salt,
what are
and vinyl
the
sticker.
materials that we are going to need?
The first thing you want to do is clean the metal surface that you're planning on etching. Here I'm just using some acetone to clean off the surface. Next up, you want to cut out your design in the vinyl sticker. I'm using a Cricut cutter, but if you don't have one, do not worry. I will show you later on in this video exactly how to do this by hand. Make sure there's no loose edges and everything is sticking firmly to the metal surface. Next up, you're going to add regular old table salt to a small cup of water. And then take the 9-volt battery, connect the leads, red to positive, black to negative. Now before we start etching, it's imperative that you wear a mask for organic vapors and do the etching in a well-ventilated area. Now let's get to some etching. Attach the positive lead to somewhere on the metal surface. Here I used electrical tape to hold it on top of the metal surface. Dip your Q-tip into the salt water and then take your negative lead and attach it to the Q-tip. Slowly scrub the exposed metal design. You should hear and see bubbles coming from the Q-tip immediately. After a couple of minutes, you're going to get this gunk building up on the surface. Take a paper towel and wipe it off. You're going to repeat this process until you begin to see and feel the surface being etched. I actually ran out of Q-tips, so I just switched to a cotton swab. With that being said, be sure to change out your Q-tips once they get dirty. Once you're happy with your depth of etch, take off the vinyl. For this small logo, I etched this for around 20 minutes. Once all the vinyl's off, clean off the surface with some water, and then be sure to add some oil for rust prevention. Links for this oil and everything else I used in this etch in the description. And there you have it, the cotton swab metal etching technique. This is super easy, super cheap, anyone can do, and I love how this little logo turned out. I'm pretty pumped about it.
So step
Alright,
2.
let's get to my favorite method of metal etching. That is the full submersion method, and that uses a car battery charger. Like here's the kicker, it has to be a full battery charger. Go search Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, go to a flea market, find a full battery charger. All the battery chargers have a smart sensor that only works when current is received. This means you can't use them unless the lead is actually attached to a battery. The only alternative I know is by using a larger battery source. I've put a link in the description of this battery right here, and you can also use a car battery or something similar in size, but use with caution, because this method will drain the battery quickly. Okay, for this full submersion technique, you're going to need a power source, you're going to need some table salt, a vinyl sticker, a plastic bucket, a piece of scrap metal, it can be any kind of metal, a thin metal wire to basically hold the metal inside the bucket, and then the metal you plan to etch. And just like the first part, you're going to clean the metal surface using some acetone. Now I'm using my Cricut cutter to cut out my design, and very shortly here I'll show you how to do it without one. So here's how I first started all of my vinyl cutouts. I would print out the design, then using a pencil I would build up a thick layer on the back side of graphite and basically act as a transfer paper since I didn't have transfer paper and I was using my photos. White vinyl already attached to the metal. metal and transferred over the design just by drawing over the pattern on top of the board. And you guessed it, now take an X-Acto knife and cut out the entire pattern by hand. This will take some time, there's a lot of details, but you know what, you get the exact same quality metal etch if you take your time and do a good job. Okay, back to the cookie cutter. I'm going to attach the vinyl sticker and then also cover up all the saw teeth so they don't become etched, because you don't want to lose the integrity of any functional pieces of metal. Next, attach the thin metal wire to somewhere on your piece. I'm going to fill the bucket up here with water just high enough to where the saw blade is fully submerged under the water. And I'm going to go ahead and add my table salt, and if I were to take a guess here, maybe half a cup of salt here. Stir up your saltwater concoction here, and then place the sacrificial metal piece and the saw blade on opposite sides of the bucket. Attach the negative lead to the sacrificial metal wire, and then the positive lead to the saw blade wire. Plug in your battery charger and set the desired amperage. I like setting mine to around 10 amps. As soon as you plug it in, you should see bubbles coming out of the sacrificial piece of metal, which is attached to the negative lead. I check my etch around every 10 minutes or so just to see how it's working, and if I like it, I want to take it off. You're going to see tons of bubbles and gunk coming up over time. Be sure to turn off the car battery charger every time you check. About halfway through etching, I actually flip my metal piece around because both sides kind of etch at a different rate. For this etch, I had this saw blade in the water for around 30 minutes. Once you think your etch is done, go throw it in some water and scrub it down. Okay, before you take off the vinyl, I have one more trick for you. If you want an even deeper looking etch, pick up this permaglue. I'll put the link up here in the description. On this one, I'm only going to do one side so you can see the difference with the permaglue and without the permaglue. Spread the permaglue evenly and let it sit for roughly 1 to 2 minutes or so before scrubbing it off back in the water. Now to the moment we've all been waiting for. Remove all the vinyl and reveal your etch. Be sure to clean the metal and then use some oil for rust prevention as soon as you're done. Here's the permaglue side, which is slightly darker than just the raw metal etch side, so that permaglue, you can see, it just gives it a little bit of a darker, deeper looking etch. And just like that, we are done. I hope you learned something in this video.
So that's all for today, and I hope you understand more from me. So thank you.